Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Eric B. Horn again, and welcome to another session of the Career Clarity Virtual Summit. Now, throughout the summit, we talked about how you should brand yourself, how you can become a career sensei, and other unique topics. But the next session is something that's near and dear to me because anyone that's looking at this session right now who's currently looking for a job, and you may have the perfect resume, you may have your interview skills up to par, but for some reason you still may not be able to get that actual job offer. And based off of some of the my clients, one of the reasons why was because of their digital footprint, meaning they had inappropriate Facebook and inappropriate pictures and things of that nature on their social media. And, when I would tell individuals this, it's like a light bulb just went off because even though they had everything together from a professional standpoint, how the things that you say or you even do or record online, it definitely stays with you. And as a heads up, and with Nate and I will talk about with you guys today, HR people are using this as a strategy to weed people out. So the topic of this session is how the wrong social media presence will prevent you from getting your next job. And based off of this topic, I couldn't think of any other great businessman as Nate Ruben. Just to kind of give you a quick spiel on who Nate is, I'll definitely have him go more into detail. But Nate Ruben is the founder and principal of Ruben Digital Media, which is much more than a creative agency. Their sole purpose is to be a launching pad for innovative businesses and talent to establish a home in the digital world. And let me emphasize the right home in the digital world, but we'll go more into that. But please definitely welcome Nate. Nate, how are you doing this evening? We took the time out to actually record this during the evening. So how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful, Eric. Thank you, first of all, for having me as a guest and a contributor. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And tonight, I'm doing very well. It's always good to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's online representation, especially how an individual can take control of their own narrative online.
Exactly, online representation. I love that. So, like I said, I gave the audience a quick spiel on who you are, but I always want to give anyone that I'm interviewing for the summit their own version of who they are, their best version of themselves. So, based off of that, who is Nate Ruben and what is Ruben Digital?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So, give you some background about who I am. I'm a 25-year-old entrepreneur from the suburbs of Chicago, and I've been running my own company now for 4 years. Ruben Digital, we specialize in a variety of different digital marketing aspects. So we got our start with web and social, and now we also do branding, we do logo design, we do video, photo, and then we've done some paid ads, pay-per-click, really gotten a wide variety of digital services. Why I think I'm a unique individual in this aspect is I have zero qualifications to be where I'm at. I'm an individual who just said, I'm going to learn how to do things and I'm going to offer more value. I'm going to outwork my competition, and I'm going to just be extremely transparent and extremely honest about everything from the beginning. And so what that's really led to is it's led to a much deeper understanding and an emphasis on serving the client, as opposed to what I think some traditional agencies have a lot of cover your ass work,
Right.
where it's how can I give the right amount of documentation to scare my client into thinking I'm doing a good job, instead of just very clearly explaining to them what's going on and helping them grow.
Which I like. So your competitive advantage is you being transparent and honest. Which, me personally, I would go with someone like yourself being that open and honest, as opposed to the scare tactics that you talked about before. And I love the outwork everyone. I mean, that's the true essence of an entrepreneur. And as long as you are providing value to your clients through your work, you'll be the go-to person as opposed to someone that's been doing it for the past 10 to 15 years. So that's very honorable, and I definitely respect that. And actually, that should, help push people towards you even more, because like you said, a lot of businesses, or just a lot of people in general, they try to create a false image of themselves, or try to make themselves look a lot bigger than they actually are. And it's kind of funny, we're talking about social media, because that's the platform where a lot of people try to have a big facade as opposed to saying, here I am, but at the same time, show and prove, so that's something that I would definitely, I honor, and I know for a fact my audience honors that also. So based off of that, just kind of switching gears, because the main gist of the session is to kind of help pinpoint certain things that people may be doing that they may not be aware of on social media that may be preventing them from the job. So the next question that I have for you is, how important overall is it to have a positive online image, especially when you're looking for a job?
I'd say it's extremely important. Well, the thing that I see before anything, if somebody is applying for my job online through the website, is their social media platform. And I do go and I look at resumes, I do read cover letters, but when I have somebody apply for an internship or a job, the first thing I actively seek out is, what does this person look like on social media?
Right.
Because I can learn a lot about somebody based on what I could find publicly, and I could also learn a lot about them based on what shows up as private. And I can get an understanding for who this person may or may not be, and then know where to go and asking questions, or whether or not I even want to waste my time on an interview.
And that's key. The last piece that you said is very, very key, and that's what a lot of HR or recruiting or hiring managers say. They don't want to waste their time if they see something online that may misrepresent them as a company, right? Because once again, you have people that they've gone. Oh, go ahead. Do you have something to say?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. No problem. Long story short, they look at this person and say, can they best represent the company, regardless of their overall academic or work history? But this person, make a fool of us if we bring him or her on to our company. So that's very, very key. And this can be some of the smallest things that people post. They can post an inappropriate picture if they're out and about having fun, but that would be one of the main things that a hiring manager or the person who actually holds the keys to hiring you will take a look at and automatically put you from first place to last place. So even though we brought to, because some people who are looking at this session right now, they may be thinking, well, wow, I think I've done that, and could my actions online be one of the things that prevented me from getting to their next job? But then you have some people out there who specifically need to know what are some things that could they could be doing that will shed a bad light in regards to hiring managers. So based off of that, in your expertise, what are some of the overlooked mistakes a job seeker makes when they actually post things online, or post the inappropriate things online?
I'd say this is true for whether or not you're looking for a job or you are looking to build your own brand, but I'll start with the general ones and then I'll dive into specifically for job seekers.
Great.
But the first one is complaining. If you're using social media to complain all day, what are you going to do when you're in my office? You're probably going to complain all day here too. And I don't want to be around that. So that's a big tell about somebody's personality. If not only do they view life as a complainer, but then they also want to waste everyone's time online complaining, and they treat social media like it's a digital diary.
Right.
That is a huge red flag. Another thing that people overlook, you kind of alluded to, but how well have they guarded or showcased a polished image of what their social life looks like? So if you like to go out, you want to go have a good time, hit the bar, hit the club, whatever you do for fun, that's great. But if it's very public, what your entertainment lifestyle looks like, that could be a big red flag for certain industries as well. If you're the type who looks like you're partying every weekend, or Thursday through Sunday, you're always checking in at a different location, and then you have a hard time showing up for work on Monday, that's a big red flag.
Right.
People who are using social media to get too political. Maybe they're only talking about politics, or they're only being demonstrative or criticizing of certain groups. It lets me know they might not fit with everybody in the office. Because just as an example, in my office, I have people who are very clear-cut conservatives, and I have people who are very bleeding heart liberal, and I have all in between. And
Right.
you have to be able to coexist with people. And if your social media seems like I only have this small pocket of friends and I can't hang out with people outside that group, that's going to be a problem.
Right. Right.
Specifically job seekers, if you're complaining about how much you hate your current job, if you are trashing other opportunities you've had, if your actions and your words don't add up. So if you're really out here seeking a job and really knocking down doors and going after it, yet you post about all this free time you have, or you're playing games and it's got those little game notifications on your wall, like,
Right.
just unlocked a new high level in Farmville or whatever the hell you have on Facebook. Like, that doesn't look good. And there's all these things that basically, if I could give you a generalization, what you post shows me how you think and the way you consume your time and the way you utilize your time. And if it's all very much seems wasted or haphazard to me, I'm going to think that you're not very focused and you don't have a very clear direction. And so you're not going to bring that kind of ambition to the company.
Right. Right. Which is just a key point, because once again, you definitely, with the going out every weekend and checking in and things of that nature. Once again, a hiring manager will say, well, will this person do this stuff if I bring them on? Or companies don't want to be embarrassed at the end of the day. Anyone that they bring on that's new, they're taking an overall risk, and not only from the company's perspective, but also from that hiring manager's perspective. Because if I'm a hiring manager and I'm bringing in, let's say, Sally, who likes to party and has these inappropriate pictures, I'm getting a sneak preview of what she may bring to the table when it comes to the actual job. And I understand that people's personal life and people's business lives, their professional lives are two separate, but when it comes to social media, it's always intertwined. Because one of the things that my first boss told me was, how you show up at home is how you show up at work, right? And this was way before social media became as popular as it is. So, you never know someone, but at the same time, if social media is given a blank canvas to give you a better understanding of how someone is. And this kind of alludes to the next question. I know for a fact, with me being a business owner, anyone that I'm even thinking about bringing on, I'm finding ways to not bring them on, to be very honest with you, not being selfish or mean, but at the same time, this person will represent me. And as a business owner, I want to make sure that any business that I do not get, it's not based off of being around or associating myself with the wrong people, right? So I have my own answer based off of the next question, but I know my audience will always want to hear it from someone else or from an expert. From your expertise, and also just being an entrepreneur, do you believe hiring managers use social media or anything else that they find online not to hire someone?
Absolutely. So a good example, I met this young lady who sat down. We had a great interview. She had all the right answers, and she had this smile on her face and like this air of confidence, but she didn't really feel genuine. And so first I had that gut check immediately, like, I'm not sure. but I was looking for somebody to fill that role pretty quickly.
Right.
And so when I went and I followed up on social, I found a few things on a profile that I really didn't care for. And it kind of gave me an insight that, hey, this person might be more of a handful than they're leading on.
Right.
And while they might be nodding their head, yes, 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 some of their actions online don't indicate that.
Hmm. That's right. And once again, as a business owner, you have to make those calls. And because at the end of the day, it's business, not personal, but your personal can hurt your business if you want to, you know, flip it around from that perspective. So now that we've identified that HR managers and the other professionals do use social media to find things that people, they not use against them, but they will find things that they will find appropriate and won't bring anyone on. If there's anyone looking at this session right now that's kind of freaking out and saying, okay, I know I'm this person, what can I do? What are some actions that a job seeker can take to clean up their online presence?
Well, it depends on how thorough they want to be, but they can go back as far as whatever platform they're on and start evaluating posts one at a time and asking themselves a simple framework of questions. One of them has to do with how you speak in general. They say, like, is this necessary? Is this useful? Is this helpful? Is this harmful to anybody? Does this need to be said? All those questions that were on those cheesy posters in school when they were trying to teach you to be nice to people,
Yeah.
if you could filter that same kind of process and then also apply it to your own professional brand.
Right.
Does this represent me authentically, or is this showcase a minor aspect of my personality that I could do without the world knowing? So, for example, I grew up where hip hop was the music to listen to. And so there are some songs that I just connect to on like a really ignorant level that the rest of the world doesn't need to know. And
Right.
so even though I could have that in my headphones when I'm working out and I'm getting pumped for my own personal motivation, I don't need to be posting music videos and letting the entire world know, hey, this is a small part of my personality that is important to me, because it doesn't represent my best foot. Somebody might look at that and say, you know what, some of those lyrics don't reflect the type of individual I like to be around, or some of the images in that entertainment might not fit with the culture I'm looking to provide. So it doesn't mean you become an inauthentic person or a disingenuous or a liar. Like, you don't post things that aren't a true representation of you. You just realize what components of your personality have a time and place for that medium. And so when you can look at those things, is this appropriate for a grandparent to look at? Or is this appropriate for a boss who may be a generation or two older than me? Because maybe the hiring manager is in their 30s or 40s, but maybe they are then reporting all their findings to somebody in their 60s.
Right.
And what is acceptable to them might be different than what's acceptable to you. And so I have friends who have tattoos. I have friends that have a lot of piercings. And a lot of times they say, I don't care what somebody thinks about those. If they won't hire me because of that, then it's their loss. And that's fine, but that's a conscious choice they made. So to kind of take that back to the original frame of the conversation, if you have a public Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, maybe you have Pinterest, make sure that whatever is public facing is something you would be willing to have an open face-to-face conversation about with your boss.
Right. Wow. Okay. And it seems like it's very, very straight to the point. It's simple, so to speak. You know, initially you would say, if there's a delete the bad and keep the good. But, you know, we both know, like, when it comes to the social media stratosphere, especially when it comes to, I'm going to get real techie now. Just because you delete something online, it's not really deleted, right? Because when you're dealing with servers and storage and things of that nature, people can still bring it up if need be, right? And that's the smoke screen that a lot of people have. Oh, I'll just delete it and then we're good to go. No, because people, especially with HR people, because they have people now that has software that can dig up stuff
Mhm.
in a matter of minutes, so to speak. So you thinking that that picture where you puked all over your best friend at a frat party won't show up again when they be, that would be the one exact thing that will knock
Mhm.
you out of the race. So people need to be very, very aware of that. I mean, your best bet is to not post stuff like that at all, just based off of who you are as an individual. But if you do post that stuff and you delete it on your own, just know that there's ways to bring it up. And actually, that's a good segue based off of the next question that I have for you. Now, people know that as a job seeker, there are some things that they can do to, excuse me, there's some things that they can do to actually start to, move past the inappropriate stuff that they post. However, you still have a lot of people, and hopefully anyone that's on this session right now that's saying, okay, I understand that I do have some stuff out there that I need to clean up, but I still don't know the overall process of how to get it done. So based off of that, do you have any type of service that can help a job seeker identify what's wrong with their online presence? Some sort of assessment so you can say, okay, Eric, we did X, Y, and Z off of all of your platforms and we found all of this. What do you plan on doing about it? Just something that they can pay for, of course, because nothing is free, that they can pay for to give them some sort of assessment to see what's really uh, out there in the social media space.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two services that make sense for figuring out what's wrong. We have a social media brand consultation and really deep dive analysis. And then we also have a web consultation and deep dive analysis. So it really depends on where somebody is. If somebody is on, let's say, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, any of these social platforms, and they want to find out where potentially some of those red flags, what can I be doing to get more clear, more focused, or just what do you as a potential hiring manager see when you look at this? We will go through and we'll build out a very comprehensive report that starts out at the macro level. What is the overall vibe that I'm getting from this person? What are some of the indicators about their personality? What are some things that I'm judging or assuming based on a first glance? And then we'll get very specific about what sections or what type of content and even specific posts and our rationale behind getting rid of them, as well as what to do moving forward. So a big thing that I feel like we've addressed is how do you reconcile with your past.
Mm-hmm.
We can do all of that through our deep audit, but we also provide the strategy for what to do moving forward and how to create your persona in a way that's authentic to you and that puts your best foot forward and gives them enough good things to look at where they're not searching for the negative. I think a lot of times people search for negative because they'll go through and they'll say, okay, this is just a regular profile. There's nothing that, is standing out one way or another. But when you have a few things that really set you above and beyond from the competition, that will deter a lot of further investigation because they'll find those things that are the check marks for, wow, this is a real winner and I want to have that follow-up conversation. Instead of the mindset, I really can't tell about this person, let me find something to write them off.
Right, right. Which is great. So I'll definitely have that information in the description, and then any type of notifications that we send out based off of this session, because that's key. I feel that a lot of people who are and who will view this session, that's the point that they're probably at now, because it's like a culture shock. Oh my goodness, this may be a reason why I'm not getting the job based off of the stuff that I post, especially when people think their profile is private, but there's ways around that. And I mean, we all know that there's ways around it, but from the average person, they may think, okay, just because it's private, only a certain person can look at it. But you never know. Someone that you may be friends with may be associated with the hiring manager in some way, shape, or form, looks at your profile and says, oh, okay, this is the gut feeling that I had. So now it's confirmed. You never know. So even though your account may be private, your best bet is to, work with Nate and his team to, lets you know what you have out there. And then, like Nate said, how you can move forward and not post that stuff again. I mean, it's lessons learned, especially when, in the grand scheme of things, the job that you want, or the job that you've been searching for, is out of your grasp based off of what you posted online. It's a small thing, but it can blow up to something that's pretty huge, which can be scary. So,
well, on top of that,
please,
to continue that conversation a little more, the best thing I think somebody can do to stand apart from the competition is to be proactive about taking control of their personal brand. It's something that I think gets neglected, because we talked about that one service with the social media side.
Right.
The other side most people ignore is the website. So there are people who have been arrested, or even who have been arrested and maybe haven't been convicted, but their name is associated with a bad article. Or if you look on Google Images and you might see a few bad pictures. A lot of those things stay around when you don't control your web presence. Wow. So some of the services we offer there, we've created personal websites for somebody based around their name. So when somebody searches their name, their own website is the first thing that comes up. And that's the one place on the internet you have complete control over your story, even more than social media. Because when you have your own website, you can create a blog, you can post about articles and other things that are important to you to showcase your personality in a way social doesn't allow. And then if you do have some of those negative articles, there's a lot of SEO services that can be offered to contribute really good positive content, and also to scrub some of that negative content. And that's something that a lot of business owners already do, but a lot of times job seekers don't do it because they never thought about investing in taking control of their own digital space.
Right. And and I love you taking control of your own digital space, because 10, 15 years ago, online presence wasn't as strong, or it wasn't as easily controllable, like you just said. And once again, it's so important, but it's something that, like you said, job seekers aren't thinking about. But that's another business, hopefully a business line for you, because hopefully it'll bring awareness to how job seekers need to make sure that their digital presence is on point, and they can come to you and your team to get that rectified, which is great. So based off of that, like I said, now people definitely see you at how I see you, as an expert when it comes to the digital space. So once again, you've given everyone an understanding of, how important it is, the risk of not taking control of their own digital space, and the rewards of actually doing that. So you're definitely an expert. So based off of that, what's next for you, Nate, and Ruben Digital?
That's a really good question. So one of the things I love about doing these kinds of activities is it's a big accountability thing for me. It's very easy to talk about what you're going to do, but when you talk about it on something that's been recorded, it definitely adds a lot of follow-up. And so for me, I've already committed as of 2 weeks ago, within the next 3 months, to launch NateRuben.com. Nice. So I've been telling people it's important to take control of your own brand. Well, I'm going to lead by example. This past month, Meditation March was a challenge I started on LinkedIn, where I noticed people doing LinkedIn video, and I said, we need to get into that. And rather than wait for the perfect time to have the perfect video, I said, why don't I start to brand myself around something that means something to me? And as a marketer, I could talk about marketing, but there's a ton of people talking about marketing. I wanted to market through the topics that are really important to me as a human being, so people could really get to know me better. And it's actually been explosive. So I'm starting NateRuben.com, and I'm also going to be doing a very big recap video about the effect of 1 month of personal LinkedIn branding videos every single day. And that segues to what's next for Ruben Digital, because we're going to be rolling out new LinkedIn video services. Nice. We already offer video service. We already offer LinkedIn. But now we're combining the two to teach people how can they do personal branding through LinkedIn video, how can they make effective videos, and what can they do to either influence their ability to get a job, like we're talking about job seekers right now,
Right.
or for companies, how can they leverage the personal brands of their employees to then grow their company's presence on LinkedIn? Because there's a lot of, I wouldn't say hidden secrets, but there's a lot of really interesting ways to grow on LinkedIn that just don't exist on the other platforms.
Wow. Okay. I'll definitely, well, as a side note to the audience, I've been checking out Nate's videos, and he's doing a great job. I think that the best thing about it is you start it and you have a high level of consistency. You have some people that I'll be transparent, because I've been telling myself for years that I wanted to do more video, and I've always made some sort of excuse, right? But one of the things that I love about what you're doing, like I said, you're not trying to be perfect, as opposed to you're not waiting for the right lighting, you're not waiting for the right script to say, you're just being transparent and speaking, from the heart, which, I appreciate, because that's just being real and honest, as opposed to putting up some fake facade, right? And like I said, the consistency piece is key. And I've seen the comments that I've even commented and shared what you put out there, because it's real, and anyone can do it. And you're definitely starting and growing a movement. You have a lot of people watching what you're doing. And I have to say, definitely keep going. So what I'll do is post Nate's LinkedIn, if it's okay with you, LinkedIn page, so you can see the progression and see what he's talking about. He's not just talking about marketing and digital space, but he's actually doing it. I mean, he's a product of his own work ethic, which is huge on anybody's part, which helps get you more clients or bring more awareness to who you are and things of that nature, right? So I definitely honor what you're doing, and continue success. And thank you for taking a little moment out of your day, or I should say your evening, since it's a Sunday evening that we're recording this, to let my audience know how, the wrong digital footprint can prevent them from getting the job that they want. Everybody wants a dream job, and they may have all the credentials on paper, but if your digital space isn't right, this may be the reason why you're not hired at this particular point. So definitely take all of the information that Nate has provided you today, and make the decision to work with Nate. He's just not doing this just for the money. He's doing it to create a better space for everyone. Everyone has their own platform, so to speak, if you know it or not. So it's in your best interest to control it to the best of your ability. But before we leave, Nate, did you have any final words, anything? Because hopefully my audience is definitely taking so many notes, and hopefully blow your LinkedIn page up for you to help them out.
I sure hope so. I have two final remarks. Actually, I'll say three. The first one is I want to thank you. You've given me a platform and an opportunity to get in front of more people. And for me to fail to acknowledge that would just be irresponsible, as well as, it's not what I'm about. And I want people to know that leads directly to the second point, that this is all about building relationships. And the way you're going to find success is providing value as a human being for life. And too many people are consumed with, what do I need to do to get the next job that's going to take me until I'm either unsatisfied with it or they're unsatisfied with me, instead of, what do I need to do to project the lifestyle I want to create, and what steps do I need to take to become that person qualified to live that lifestyle. And when you adopt that approach, you'll start doing all the things Eric and I talked about today for longevity, and not just for the next. And then the third thing would be to keep in mind, what can I do to better improve somebody else, so that way they'll have that intrinsic need to reciprocate. Right. Most people have it within themselves to want to give back when they've been given to. So if you're just always out there giving to first, you're more likely to receive more than you would just by walking around waiting for everybody to give to you. And the best part about it is the people who don't reciprocate are the assholes, and you get to find out really clearly, like, this is somebody I want to work with or it's somebody I don't. And instead of sitting around your whole life waiting for that person to give you a shot, they show you all their cards right away and you don't have to worry about them anymore. And so give first, and all the people who need to be there are going to give back.
Boom. I couldn't have ended the video any better than that. Once again, guys, Nate Ruben. So once again, I'll have all this information in the description of the video. Please reach out with him, connect with him, take a look at his daily videos. He's much more than just a digital marketer. Let me put that out there, just based off of what I've seen and the conversations that I've had with him. So definitely somebody that you would definitely want to connect with, do business with, or reach out to him and his team to help you get your digital presence in the right order. So once again, Nate, thank you for your time, and see you guys on the next session. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.